Clinton's women voters so disillusioned by their Democratic candidate's loss that they're willing to desert their party and go vote for Republican John McCain instead. Heidi Harris is a radio talk show host in Las Vegas, and Amy Goodman is a radio talk show host for Democracy Now! Her book is called Standing Up to the Madness. It's good to have you both on today, although it's a sad week around here. I want to start with some poll numbers here. The latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll has Senator Obama beating Senator McCain among women by 19 points, among white women by 7 points, but McCain leads among suburban women by 6. You first, Heidi. What way is this going?
Well, I think it's going to be interesting to see. And to me, the biggest issue is going to be on the election day, how many people don't show up to the polls. In other words, Barack Obama appeals to younger women, but will they show up on election day? That's going to be the big question mark for him. And John McCain is going to have to work really hard to get some of those women over who are Hillary supporters to his side.
Amy Goodman, your sense of which way it's going with these? Well, most voters are women. Overwhelmingly, most Democratic voters are women. Obviously, there's a gender issue, an age issue, but let's talk about gender. Will most Democratic women vote Democratic?
Well, first, Chris, condolences on the loss of Tim Russert. And on this issue, it's interesting we're talking today, Monday, which was the scheduled fundraiser for John McCain at the home of the Texas oilman, Clayton Williams, who is famous for having compared rape to weather, saying bad weather, saying you just have to lie back and enjoy it. He's also the guy who ran against Ann Richards in 1990 in Texas and compared her to a cow, saying you gotta, what was it, head her, hoof her, and then drag her through the dirt. Yes, they canceled the fundraiser, but it's very significant. He's very well known for making these comments. So when you ask that question about who women will vote for, that might tell us something. Also, don't forget, Hillary Clinton has yet to go out on the campaign trail for Barack Obama, and that's going to change a lot of things, because the women that were saying that they were only going to vote for her, well, then the question becomes, who will they vote for, John McCain or Barack Obama? I think all the figures show right now they are leaning toward Barack Obama, and I think the most important issue is war, and women tend to be overwhelmingly opposed to war.
Yeah. You talked about turnout, Heidi, and I know that's always been the old complaint about young voters, male and female. They'll wear the T-shirts, they might go to the rallies, but they don't show up on Election Day. But after this year of all this excitement, why do you think they may not vote?
Well, they did in Iowa, but they didn't do it in New Hampshire. The same group of people did not turn out for Obama in New Hampshire. And the fact is, a lot of young people, they just get lazy about it. Maybe it's their first election. They're just not that engaged, and they may not bother. We're talking about the follow-through, and that's going to be essential to Barack Obama. And the same goes for John McCain, by the way. You know, conservatives like me are not entirely thrilled. He was not my first choice. So a lot of conservatives may stay home and say, look, I just can't get excited about John McCain. So on both sides, I think the numbers are going to be a big deal this year.
Is there a part of you, Heidi, I don't know you that well except working together with you, is there a part of you that says, you know, like in a football team when they get to flip the coin and the team says, all right, it's a muddy day, let the other team have the ball. They're not going to go very far with it. Let the other team have the next lousy 4 years. Everything's going to be bad. The dollar's weak. Trade's off. We're in big trouble with oil prices. It's going to be a horrendous time to rule this country. Let them have their 4 years. Let Barack have it. And we'll come back like gangbusters.
No, there's no part of me that says that. You know, let John McCain have it for 4 years. You know he's not going to run for a second term, and Barack will still be young, so you'll still have hope.
I think we won't have hope if you have policies like John McCain just advocated on Friday, when the Supreme Court came down with their decision saying prisoners must be able to have their day in a civilian court. John McCain, he said he thought it was one of the worst decisions in history. That's very sad. But I also think Barack Obama has to be very careful when he criticizes Hillary Clinton for being on the board of Walmart and then brings on to his campaign one of the chief proponents of Walmart, the NYU scholar, who talked about it being a progressive company when we're talking about some of the lowest wages that a large corporation has in this country. Women also are over the largest number of people in poverty are women, and people care about the poor, women particularly. So Barack Obama has to be very clear on where he stands around Social Security, where he stands around poverty, and also offer a timetable on withdrawal from Iraq.
Yeah, I'd love to hear about Social Security. I haven't heard a word about that this entire campaign. I'd love to know what's going to happen because I don't expect to see a dime of my Social Security.
Why do you think most women vote Democrat, Heidi? And have for years?
Most women? I don't know. I think women, sadly, a lot of women are very emotional, and they tend to think with their hearts and not with their minds about some of these issues. They tend to feel more of these kind of things than think it through. I hate to say it, but it's true.
You mean it's not hard issues like abortion rights or Social Security or minimum wage, logical reasons?
You know what it is? I don't think, Chris, that most women under 50 care about abortion rights, and here's why. Because women at that age have, Roe v. Wade was passed in '73, as you know. So all the women growing up, my generation, the women 10-15 years younger than I am, it's always been legal. I don't think that 30-year-old women have any concept of what it's like not to have that right. So whether you stand left or right on it, it doesn't really matter to most women because they can't conceive of it.
Well, shouldn't they have a concept of it if the Supreme Court moves further right and there is no more right to have an abortion?
I don't think it's going to change. I don't think no matter who's on the Supreme Court, it's going to be overturned. And the women who are complaining about it the most are too darn old to get pregnant. So I don't think it's a big issue for young ones.
I think it's a very important issue. And when people learn, as they don't know right now, but especially when women learn about John McCain's record on reproductive rights, that he's 100% opposed to abortion, for example, they are going to be deeply concerned that the records aren't comparable.
Okay, thank you very much, Heidi. Thank you. I mean, I have a sense there's a lot of people really grinding their teeth over this issue, women and mostly women trying to figure out what is in their interest when this whole thing's over with this November.